Ooh la la. Hey everyone, question. If you had to install backdrops without using hardboard, without drilling holes into your walls, and without directly attaching the backdrops to your walls, what would you do? I used foam board.
What?
Hang on. Let me explain. I originally was going to use hardboard because it's commonly used for backdrops. It's easy to bend, easy to cut, and it's relatively inexpensive. Unfortunately, it has a wicked, awful chemical smell, especially after it's cut, and the train room is not well ventilated for such odors. And the small apartment, these smells tend to linger. I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just paint it? Well, again, small apartment, small train room, not ideal. And for those who are saying, well, the smell goes away after a while, it's been outside on the balcony for over a week and it still smells. Anyway, I went a different route. Besides, everyone uses hardboard, so I'm gonna be different. The foam board is actually my wife's idea. We were shopping at Michael's and she came across it and she said, hey, think this will work? Well, one way to find out. The boards are 20 by 30 inches each. I chose to work on the longest wall of the train room. It's 90 inches. So I tape 3 boards together, first using painter's tape to lock them in place, then clear packing tape along the joints. I did this on both sides to make it more rigid. So here's interesting, each board is just over 30 inches, which means when I add 3 together, the length is over 90 inches, which means I have to trim this. Time to pull out my trusty rusty knife. Although, on second thought, maybe it's time to retire this guy and buy a new one. These cuts have to be clean. You can see here that I'm using the 90-inch 1x4 to double check the measurement. Once the backdrop is attached to the foam board, I will attach the foam to the wood. Time to open the backdrops. I ordered 6 pieces from SceniKing.com. They are based right here in Ontario and arrived in a timely manner. I can't comment on the price because I didn't compare them with other companies. They came well packaged and included tips on how to install them. SceniKing does not offer a huge selection and variety, but in some ways that made it easier for me to decide. I kept it simple. Trees, rocks, quarry, some buildings. Since I don't know exactly what I'm modeling yet, a generic background will work just fine. What I like about these panels is that most of them can be connected so that the images flow into one another. Each panel comes with a white border, which annoyed me at first, but then I realized these borders kept the edges from getting damaged, and I could leave pencil markings on them for measurements. I did keep the bottom border intact, and you'll see why in a minute. Each backdrop is 72 inches long and 16.5 inches high. Since this piece is 90 inches, I'll be using 3 different backdrops. There's a lot of math involved in this process. I just hope my calculations are correct.
Okay, Mark, how are you gonna hear your backdrops?
I'm so glad you asked. The last time I did a backdrop, I used 3M adhesive strips, and they worked okay, but they left a mess afterwards. So I wasn't sure what to use, but as luck would have it, KandWRailroader just added some really nice backdrops to his layout, and he used Scotch's double-sided tape. So that's what I used. Some use spray adhesive, but again, ventilation in here is poor. I can't watch this next part, it makes me too anxious. Is it over yet?
Try this at home.
Okay, it wasn't too bad, but it did veer off course a bit. The good thing about the foam is that I can trim it. You can see here the backdrop dips down to the right. If you don't line it up perfectly at the start, it exponentially goes off course. I taped down the bottom edge with clear tape just so that the edges wouldn't catch and rip or curl up. And there we go. The 90-inch panel is ready and looks really good. All trimmed up, and the scene flows from left to right seamlessly. Now it's time for the part where I don't think a lot of people do. I'm going to attach the foam board to the 1x4 wood piece. I flipped over the foam board and clamped it to the 90-inch piece of wood. Then I screwed it in place. Here you can see that I left some space for the 1/2-inch plywood and the 1/2-inch pink foam I'll be using for a tabletop. This next step was a spur-of-the-moment idea. I decided not to curve the backdrop in the corners. I thought about it, but it would have been difficult with this method I'm using, and it would have taken up space on the layout where I might add some track. But I would like to wrap the backdrop around this protruding corner, or convex corner, or edge, or
coin.
I went down a rabbit hole with this one. Anyway, here's what I did. I just taped one side of the foam boards so that it would bend. Then I took a piece of paper that would represent the backdrop. I first measured the length of a piece of paper flat to see how much space it needed, made 2 marks, then bent the foam board and taped the paper in place. Then laid it flat again and measured the difference. 4/16 or 1/4 inch is how much extra I have to leave for the bend. I hope that made sense. Like I said, lots of math involved in this process. Here we go again. Time to roll out the backdrop and tape it. I'll spare you the time and agony and just skip this step. Okay, I'll just bend it and voila, pretty good. Some creases, but not too noticeable. I'm surprised how it works so well. Okay, you got me. Here's what really happened. Luckily, I was able to peel off the backdrop from the double-sided tape and redo it. I am very pleased with the end results. I have 4 to 6 walls covered, and I can't wait to get the track down so I can take some video of the trains running with a nice scene in the background. Pros and cons of foam board. Pros, easy to cut, lightweight, no smell, and easy to carry from the store. Cons, does not bend, more expensive, and it comes in smaller pieces. There are a ton of videos out there on how to do backdrops. I did a lot of research before doing this project and spent a lot of time doing math. One regret I do have is not making a mock-up, because I did make some mistakes, and I will go over those mistakes in the next video where I show you how I did my bench work. Be sure to check out SceniKing.com for some excellent backdrops. Be sure to subscribe, and be sure to click the bell icon so that you don't miss my next upload. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.
Well, I guess it's time to say goodbye. And there's only one way to do this. Proper send-off. Down by the lake.